Start out with, there'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. It's certainly hot, and this is an old town, so let's give them a hand. Later on, we'll be hearing from Cornwall's own, still a homegrown band, and I'd also just like to do a couple shout outs to Dan Evans, who's done a great job preparing the meat, the pork, Jim Laporta, who's engineered this. This is all being powered by solar electric. Jim has his portable van here, which powers the solar electric Christmas tree down in Cornwall Bridge. It's the largest solar powered Christmas tree that we know of. He's also powering at this time the installation of the town hall is cooling the refrigerating. So all the salads we'll be eating later on are actually cooled by solar power that runs off the panels of the town hall. So that's pretty cool. Get it? Yeah. And also there have been some great programs here today, and there will be several others coming up. I'd like to thank all the people that have been involved with the program from start to finish. It says a lot about this town that an anniversary, the 275th, which many towns hardly recognize, is in Cornwall being celebrated by three major and distinct events. Today, we have this great party. Next Sunday, August 9th, we have the Riverfest in West Cornwall. And then we have, on September 19th, the Covered Bridge Dance. These are grassroots events that reflect our town's long history of citizen involvement. From the first town meeting that was held here, near here, in 1740 to the present day, when the town was recognized as having the highest voter turnout and the highest per capita recycling rate in Connecticut, residents of this beautiful town have helped make it such a special place. At this time, I would like to reflect what has happened since we gathered here in 1990 for the 250th anniversary. We can now reflect on the many special people who have passed on in the last 25 years who have helped this community achieve its potential. They are with us today in spirit. At the same time, we can rejoice in the new friends who have joined the community in the last 25 years. Since 1989 and 1990, the scars of the great tornado that blew through here have healed. We can also say in the last 25 years, we've constructed a new child center, a new gymnasium at CCS, Hammond Beach, Bonnie Brook Senior Housing, and on Pine Street, a renovated historic society and a new library. We have preserved and kept productive many important farms and forests. We have weathered storms and emergencies, always looking out for each other. Emergency volunteers are still on call 24/7, 365 days a year in this town. Let's give them a hand in our neighboring departments. At this time, Cornwall faces many challenges, as do many small towns in New England. We need to continue to work hard to make this an affordable community to live in. We need to attract young families to sustain our schools and volunteer organizations. We need to support and expand our local businesses that provide us with essential jobs and services. We also need to remain stewards of the land. At this time, history can be a guide. The monuments behind us speak of the brave men and women who volunteered for the nation's service and came home to serve their community. From the Revolutionary War, wherein Cornwall sent over 200 soldiers to fight for independence, to the present day, Cornwall citizens have had an impact on the local and world stages. From its beginnings, Cornwall has relied and has been refreshed by new arrivals. From its earliest days, including the Foreign Mission School, education has always been a top priority for Cornwall. Our lives have been enriched by the creativity and humor of Thurber, Samant, and many others. These traditions need to continue and expand. But most importantly, happy 275th birthday, Cornwall. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. I probably don't need to remind you, but all those accomplishments that Gordon stated on was under his leadership. And I think we should take a minute to really give a big round of applause. All right. With that applause, I'm going to cut to the chase here. Hello? There we go. Our junior senator unfortunately can't be here today, Chris Murphy, but he sent a proclamation too, and it says a lot of good stuff, and you know, you guys know what it says. So we'll just keep moving along, right? Richard Schlesinger, a citizen of 25 years, a news.
Not enough sun.
Can you hear me? Oh boy. All right, I'm going to hear my stage voice then. But Richard, you need more help than that. Yeah. Follow the line.
It's right at the mic.
It's in the mic? Is that?
Yeah, the cord at the mic is bad.
Can you hear me?
Hey, turn it on. That's on. There.
How about now? Can you hear me? There we go.
I'll hold the cable for you. I think it's a bad cable.
Here, let me hold it.
Yeah.
All right, my apologies. Anyway, Richard Schlesinger is about to, representing the Cornwall Historical Society, has a few remarks for us.
Hi. So, Gordon and the committee asked me to talk for about 3 to 5 minutes about Cornwall's history and what makes us special. Yeah, what makes us special is that sometimes the microphone works and sometimes it doesn't. I've had to organize a few forums over the years, and I know how important it is to keep the time. I know the clock is ticking. I know there's food at the end of the festivities, and we have a senator to get through. So I will be brief. You know, the comparatively short history of the planning for this event in a way mirrors the long history of Cornwall itself. We started with a long list of different ideas about how to celebrate the 275th anniversary. And finally today, after a bunch of meetings, a lot of talking, a little fighting, and no small amount of patience, here we stand with one grand plan to celebrate our great town. And we should give the town a good rousing hand. So that's similar to the way Cornwall itself evolved, if you think about it. From its beginnings, we started as a group of separate families who, a little more than 275 years ago, happened upon this spot and thought, even though it was remote and rocky and hilly and cluttered with difficult to clear pine trees, it might make a good farming area and a pretty nice place to live. And just like the committee that set up this day, after years of hard work, probably a little fighting, and without a doubt no small amount of patience, they established our great town. At first, families with names like Gold and Hurlburt and Sedgwick wrestled with the land and tamed it so that life would be a little easier for succeeding generations. And we're grateful for that. Things have always been a little different here. We were an accepting community before accepting was cool, and truthfully, before accepting was fully accepted. In the early 1800s, the Foreign Mission School, which Gordon mentioned, brought students here who spoke more than 20 different languages and represented all those different cultures. The school might have been a little ahead of its time, though, because when two local girls married two cousins from the Cherokee Nation, the scandal and the uproar forced the school to close less than 10 years after it opened. But in more modern times, things progressed here, you know, usually in the general direction of unity and concern for the common good, despite the arguments and the odd feuds that, you know, always crop up in towns our size. At one time, remember, there were 17 different school districts, each with separate schools. Today we have one, Cornwall Consolidated School. Yelping Hill, there was somebody with a Yelping Hill t-shirt I saw earlier, was an early experiment in communal living. It was a neighborhood of people who would gather daily for communal meals, and that was before communes were cool. So who knows how it happened, but somehow we established ourselves as a progressive, creative, mostly tolerant community, unless we're discussing cell towers or railroad service or any number of other issues. But you know, I travel a great deal, really too much for my taste and my job. And I really believe that anybody who travels from this place has to recognize how special our town is and how lucky we are to live here. It's the people. Give yourselves a hand. It's the people, it's the location, it's the creative energy and the sense of neighborhood in the air, along with the bugs, and the beauty of the land that always make Cornwall feel like home. Through the years, we've managed to remain unique, with great respect to our neighbors, many of whom have sent their fire departments to honor us today. We are very unlike Lakeville and Litchfield, Canaan and Kent. We are Cornwall consolidated, and not just through 8th grade. We are Cornwall cool, Cornwall calm, and perhaps most of all, Cornwall quirky. And damn proud of it. Happy 275.
Thank you, Richard. That was perfect. Elizabeth Esty also could not be here today. She sent a really great proclamation from our U.S. Congress. Can you believe they actually, did something? It'll be over at Town Hall. Anybody wants to read it, it'll be over there. I'm not going to bore you with it. It's my great pleasure now to introduce our senior senator. I was looking earlier just to, find out little tidbits about him, and there are lots. This is quite an accomplished man. But his one connection he has with Cornwall is very early in his career. He worked with Abe Ribicoff, who used to live here at Cornwall. So it's with a great deal of pleasure I'd like to introduce the senior senator from the state of Connecticut, Richard Blumenthal.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you all. I have no proclamation. I come empty-handed. I want to thank, first of all, everyone involved in organizing this great 275th Priscilla Pavel and Lynn Scoville, and thanks to you, Dave Cadwell, and Gordon Ridgway. Thank you for your leadership. Gordon has been in this office about 25, 26 years, a real model of local courage and vision. Believe me, a lot tougher job than being in the United States Senate. Thank you, Gordon, for all you've done. I am grateful to be in Cornwall cool, Cornwall calm. Be nice to take those characteristics down to Washington with me, and Cornwall quirky. There is no better place in the world than Cornwall, and no other place like it. As I was walking here through the beautiful scenery, what struck me is your steadfastness and resolve in making sure that environmental values, open space, clean water, and clean air are kept. You have been wonderful stewards of the environment, and I thank you on behalf of all Connecticut. And yes, you have been an accepting community, a tolerant community, one that puts great values on the traditions of not only open space, but also open government, open democracy. And the memorial behind me testifies not only to your acceptance, but also to your willingness to defend those values. In each of the wars, beginning, as Gordon was telling me as we were walking, the Revolutionary War, 200 soldiers sent from this town. In each of the following wars, Cornwall has done its part. And I want to ask all of the veterans who are here today, regardless of the war, regardless of the service, to please just raise your hand so that we can thank you for your service to our nation. It is because of the veterans. Thank you. Because of the veterans. Thank you. that we have the opportunity to stand here in a classic Connecticut, New England, American setting, to say whatever we please, to worship on this weekend as we wish, to gather together, to enjoy those freedoms that Cornwall has always epitomized and always articulated so eloquently, not just in its public proclamations, but in its way of life. So I thank you, Cornwall, for this 275th. My goal is to be here for the 300th. And in the meantime, I look forward to coming back again and again and again and expressing my admiration and my gratitude for all Cornwall does for Connecticut and our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, our final speaker tonight with the big announcement, the flag contest, representing the Cornwall Association, Cornwall's think tank. It's my pleasure to introduce Ed Green.
We were delighted to sponsor the contest. It was thanks to the recommendation of Richard Griggs, so when I'm finished, he will present the 3 checks to our winners. We had 105 submissions, and what was more interesting, 73 from those under 18. They're all on our website and at the library as well. We owe special thanks to Carol Weigel because she organized both the publicity but the ability to have the submissions made digitally together with an explanation of what the flag was about. But when those were made available to the judges, they were anonymous. So the judges really just looked at the submission plus the description. And I want to particularly thank our 5 judges, Ginny Potter, Margaret Hask, Andrea Geiser, Richard Bramley, and Heidi Kearns, who went through all the submissions and then posted 3 finalists, A, B, and C. And A, B, and C are down there to take a look at. We asked each making a submission to tell us what their thought was behind it. If you look at A, which was submitted by Tim Prentice, it's clearly the Cornwall Bridge. And as he said, it's the bridge, silly. The second was submitted by Michael Hemming, and there it is interesting because it's a cow together with the bridge. And what he said was that the cow symbolizes Cornwall's history as an agricultural community, and the bridge symbolizes its link to 19th century architecture. Within the bridge there are 7 windows representing the 7 communities within Cornwall. The cow has 3 aspects of blue representing the 3 public waterways that are available. And then the cow's ear has white lines on it, which represents skiing at Mohawk. And the final was submitted by Natalie Nessler, and that is a C with, you'll see blue and yellow on it. And the C stands for both Cornwall and community. And the light green is in 2, there's dark and light green, one representing the grass, the other for the pine trees that are so well known in Cornwall, and the other yellow represents sunshine. We had voting on A, B, and C at the library and at the Wish House, and Richard will announce the winner. After the winner is announced, we will have the flag raised on the town flagpole, which it will be there for a bit. After which we have 275 celebrating the anniversary, small flags, which will be available at the table where we also have a cake with the winning flag's decoration on it. Those flags are available for free, though we ask for a donation of perhaps $2 for each flag that you take. With that, I will now ask Richard to come up and make the presentations, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st.
Okay, all right. I can't get away from this, huh?
One filmmaker to the one.
Well, 3rd place was Natalie Nessler. Natalie? Okay, 2nd prize, and this I do work for the guy, but you know, what can I say? Mr. Tim Prentice.
I think it's the first time Richard kept a secret.
And that's hard, believe me. Now, the first prize is Michael Hemming. Boy, it's a pretty stiff competition. And it's utterly the best flag in Cornwall. I tried to utterly, cow. That's what Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Oh. There's the flag. Whoa. Woo!
Wow, what a great flag. Boy, that's our town, isn't it? Boy, that's got Quirky written all over it. Hey, thanks everybody for coming. Don't forget, if you missed out on the Griffins today, 2 o'clock tomorrow, they'll be doing another performance. You can help out the 8th grade and get yourself a hat
And you can watch this video on
right over here.
the Cornwall website.
And don't
soon.
forget to go tell your story down at the library with Jeremy. Now, it's Dan Evans Barbecue for everybody. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks for coming.